The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence.
As the season in the Triple Bypass Racing League ticks on, we head now to the state of Tennessee and the Nashville Super Speedway. About 30 minutes away in Lebanon, Tennessee, this 1 1/3 mile track was held dormant for over a decade until its revival in 2021 and now has become a gorgeous track holding NASCAR and IndyCar events. But tonight, it's not just those guys. It is going to be the Triple Bypass Racing League, and we're going to have some fun here on the 1 1/3 mile concrete oval. Welcome everybody to PTR TV. The Action Academy 120 is what is on the docket here this evening. Gonna be myself, Corey Silva, in the booth, and Brad is undergoing a move and dealing with a lot of boxes and trucks and all that fun stuff. So Patrick Coleman Rekas is here to help me with the call. So gonna be an interesting race here. Patrick, we got about 30 next-gen cars, a concrete oval. Concrete, not the normality here in the racing world, but we're gonna have some fun for 120 laps tonight.
Indeed, yeah. So I can't wait to see how these drivers rock and roll their way through this circuit here in Nashville. 120 laps. And like you said, concrete is a far different surface than tarmac. I know Sebring is another track that has a lot of concrete on it. It's a completely different feel. So for a lot of these drivers who may be more used to just regular tarmac, we'll just have to see how they adapt to this concrete. And we're already seeing some drivers sliding on as we're still in the closing stages of qualifying here, but nevertheless, it may be a precursor of what's to come.
Yeah, we heard the boss man, Al Corey, gave us a little preemptive knowledge that turn 4 has been the trouble spot here this evening. Cars getting very loose. That's Mark Herzog there with 11th on the board. Alan Kunman in the number 3. And another point of contention there, Patrick, is iRacing just released their new update this past week that we've completed. So there was a massive overhaul to a lot of the service. Here Nashville's gotten a little dolled up, but this next-gen car underwent a ton of updates. Tire model, aero model, and just overall physics upgrades. So these drivers are not just learning the nuances of Nashville, they're basically relearning the car at the same time.
Yeah, and that can be a bit easier said than done. I remember around the virtual Sebring 12-hour when they updated the GTP tire model, and that threw everybody off guard. So it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers go ahead and adapt. I mean, it's already tough to kind of get used to a track that, even though you may have raced it before, you may have not raced it in a league. And then, like you said, iRacing comes out with a firecracker of an update where they pretty much rebuild a lot of things from the ground up. I mean, the track got redid, like you said, and also these next-gen NASCARs have also received quite a few tweaks across the board. So I think this race is really just going to come down to whoever can adapt the best to these changes. And I mean, consistency is going to be key. I mean, like you said earlier, turn 4 has been the trouble spot and we'll just have to see how the drivers navigate, because I think this is going to be a really tricky race.
It will be, and we'll see indeed how it happens here. Let's very quick look to our point standings after 6 races. Steve McClendon, our points leader, with the win locked in, as well as Chad Bayer, who had the heartbreak story at Chicago, dominating the race, and then had hardware failures put him into the wall there. And then you can just see 174.5 points for the leader, 127 points down to Al Corey there in 10th, and you can see the gaps as things are pretty close. We do want to give a shout out to our race sponsor here again for the Action Academy 120. That's going to be Jared Jackson in the number 12. So again, we want to give our shout outs to him and our thanks for him for helping facilitate tonight's broadcast. But we need to facilitate tonight's race. Go down trackside with that PTR TV starting lineup here today from the Nashville Super Speedway. Starting today's race off from the front row, going to be Jeremy Brown, and then Alan Kunman in the Toyota. He's going to roll off in second. P3 will find the likes of Kyle Gresh and then Kyle Gresh and Brad Kress, close enough to confuse me, third and fourth. The Canadian Keaton Crothers with Jared Jackson, our race sponsor there on Edge Racing, in sixth. Then we have Matthew Robinson and Mark Herzog. And then rounding out our top 10 will be Ben Harcum and then Ty E. Bass. Roll it off to you there, Patrick.
All right, so in P11 we have Dylan Freeman in the Mustang, and then Jeff Slaughter, who is in the Chevrolet Corvette. Going down to the next row, we have Nick Jones and Michael Hopkins.
It's a Camaro.
In the Camaro and the Mustang.
There you go.
And then we have Steve McClendon and Sean F. Bradley. Another row with the Camaro and Mustang. And then we have Mike Weeda and Joshua Corner. Right, and P17, P18. P19 is the boss man, Al Corey. And then next to him is Dominic Zanoba running the Toyota. And then P21, I'll hand it to you.
Exactly that. We got our Aussie, Mr. John Campbell in 21st, with Derek Catt going to be in 22nd. And then we will find 23rd spot, and that will be none other than Mr. Matt Harmon. 24th, we'll find Brian Dickens in the 24th spot in his Camry. 25th will be Jason Benson and Ward Fisher going to be in 26th. 4 more drivers here on the docket. William Emmert in 27th. We'll see what that paint scheme is here today. We got Daniel Williams in 28th, and then shotgun on the field is going to be Naj, John Crutchley, and then Tex Nichols, our series sponsor with AMSOIL, going to be shotgun on the field. I do think we're going to have to hop, skip, and jump very quickly through this because I believe we only get 1 pace lap, but our race details, sponsored by, we don't have a sponsor for this segment, 120 circuits around here, 45 will be our stage break, 3 sets of Goodyears, and we do have 1 fast repair. It is fixed setups, custom fixed setups with 80% fuel load. We have been privied. That's around 58 laps. And I do believe the pace car will pull on in to the safety of pit road, and we'll very quickly get today's effort underway. Heading into that Echo Park restart zone is going to be Jeremy Brown, and we're going to get today's Action Academy 120 up and at it. Let's go racing here from Nashville.
Indeed, yeah.
Oh, we're already
go
wrecking in the back. We're already wrecking. Someone is backwards before we even go forwards, and that's going to be the boss man, Al Corey. That was fast.
I was just going to mention that the fast repairs are probably going to get used up pretty quickly considering how troublesome turn 4 was. So we're going to take a look at the replay here. Just what happened here to the boss man. I'm very curious because
he just
lost it on his own.
Cold tires, getting on the binders a little quickly. Somebody went through the grass there. And something that I am a little worried about there, Patrick, just because I do know the innards of iRacing pretty well and the technicalities that can happen. A lot of the field didn't take the green flag when the caution came out. So we may have a situation where there's a lot of black flags that need to get cleared. Some guys may be showing a lap down. Hopefully not, but I've seen some odd technicalities happen when we have those insta-cautions.
Yeah, so hopefully that's not the case, and hopefully we'll be back to green racing conditions soon. I know these drivers are all fired up and ready to get back racing here. as we have the pace car currently going around. Jeremy Brown in the lead of this race in the number 46 Chevrolet Camaro, and still caution at the moment, but I feel like those quick repairs are going to get used up pretty quickly considering how problematic turn 4 was early on. But yeah, I think it's just a bit of an adjustment period because, like you said, the update came out very recently, reworking how these cars handle and this track in general. And actually, just like you said, a lot of the platform has been revised in recent times. So
yep, even on
it'll be interesting to see how this restart goes.
Yeah, even on your side and the elephant in the room, Patrick is a road guy by nature, obviously helping us out here today. He's a race fan, so he'll be good. But even on the road side of things, the GT3s all got a massive update. So iRacing, one of the biggest updates they've ever had. But yeah, for a next gen, you do have to get used to this new tire. From what we hear on the concrete, not wearing too much, but it's certainly going to be better to have fresh tires than to not. But you may see some strategy calls, but you apparently have to be very easy on the throttle on the get-go here on this concrete surface here at Nashville. But let's try it one more again here. We'll, I guess, try to get the race officially off here. We're on lap number 3, taking lap number 4. Let's see if we can get into third, fourth gear this time. We're already having a checkup back of the field. They're going to be 3 wide. Ty Bass entering the corner, but I think we're all going to get through this time.
Indeed. So we have managed. We are now up to racing speed here as we navigate this very tricky circuit. The concrete is definitely not going to play nice with a few of these drivers, as we are seeing, it looks like we're about to go 2 wide quite considerably through this part of the oval. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I know people can say what they want about oval racing, how it's just constantly turning left, but it takes a lot of skill to keep that car going in the right direction, because it's not as easy as it looks to race around these ovals. And I give a lot of credit to these drivers. And there's a slide right there.
That's Nick Jones and somebody. Oh, we're still not done yet. 29, Derek Catt. You'd think it's raining here off of the corner by how many drivers all wrecked at the same time. Now this is, we're on board with Derek Catt right now. Oh yeah, who was that? That was Kyle Gresh, top of the shot. And yeah, that was Nick Jones in Derek Catt. But Kyle Gresh, who is one of our heavy hitters here in triple bypass, got to see what happened to him. I think he may, I got to go back one more click here. I think he may have got loose by himself, or was there an instigation?
I think it was.
Brad Kress got loose, and he had a reactionary situation there. He saw him get loose, and then essentially everybody else had to react to that. So it all stemmed from a little wiggle from the 9.
Yeah, that's just such a tricky thing about racing in a pack like this, is it just takes somebody else to have a little bit of a wiggle to give you that little millisecond of a heart attack. And at that point, you have a little bit of a reaction, and then you pretty much get exactly what we just saw a few moments ago. We're back under caution here at Nashville. So the cold tires are really not playing nice with a lot of these drivers, but once again, it is an update, so with how much work they did on all these cars, it's gonna take some time for these drivers to go ahead and get used to it. Some drivers do adapt quicker than others, and I think we're seeing a little bit of that here tonight. Jeremy Brown, though, has seemingly adapted pretty well to this update, as he is still in the lead of this race, although granted, we haven't had a whole lot of racing laps, Corey.
Yeah, we've, as I like to say, we've barely rubbed the sticker off off of the Goodyears yet. These tires are still essentially brand new, and this will certainly help the fuel mileage as well. Again, we're estimating 58 laps. These caution laps, every 2 caution laps essentially is a green flag lap, so you'd estimate maybe we can get to 65, and that puts them in a spot to probably do this on a one-stop race if this managed to go green that long. But Jeremy Brown actually winning a race we cover on another series, on the area iRacing series that we cover here on PTR TV. He actually won a race at Talladega. So he is off to a good week and trying to continue that here today. Reading here in chat, these incidents have been a direct product of the tire model. Cold tires, very easy to spin. So we may need, Patrick, a little bit of what DW used to say, co-opetition. The drivers have to realize, we got to work together. We're fighting for position, but we know everyone's struggling, and we're going to have to work for each other to at least get the tire temps up where we have some grip.
Yeah, and also piggybacking off of that, in chat as well, the update is like you see on TV, where the leader, who is Jeremy Brown in this case, has a lot of clean air, and he hasn't really had a lot of competition, at least in the early stages of this race, because he can just get in that clear air. Because dirty air is also going to play a factor in as well. It does affect the aerodynamics of a car. Granted, these cars aren't as aerodynamic dependent like a Formula 1 car or an Indy car even. But still, the little bit of dirty air can just unsettle a driver just enough.
That rear diffuser, Patrick, that is what does it in these next-gen cars. That underbody, that rear underwing, essentially, it puts so much dirty air out that you have to try to find another lane, or you're going to have some big troubles. But we're about to go back, and let's try this again, Patrick.
Hey, you know what they say, third time is a charm, so maybe we can get going here and get these tires outside of the Antarctic temperatures that they have started on, and we are back green. Once again, we see Jeremy taking a little bit of the high line here as we get restarted here in Nashville. Taking a look at the back of the number 12 car of Jared Jackson now. He's currently in P2, started in 6th, so very good movement from him. Taking advantage of some of the incidents that happened earlier on. And he's got, right now, Jeremy Brown is really pulling away at the moment. He's already half a second clear of Jared Jackson here as we begin lap 10 out of 120. So this has been a very interesting race so far, but now that the drivers, like you said, the tire wear is going to be a factor here in this race, because you have only 3 sets of tires available, and if you can make the current set of tires you're on last longer, then that's really going to be a key to victory here.
Yeah, tires are they don't necessarily drop off in time from what we've been told, but they do provide more grip, so sometimes a little bit more agility will be what you need here. We do have a battle going on for the 6th position, I believe it is. That's on the outside. Dylan Freeman, saw him get loose in that number 31 bright. That's the Avril Lavigne car. Getting passed by Steve McClendon, our points leader. Seeing some racing there. We're seeing some racing just ahead of that. The 2 of Ty Bass to the outside. The 34 of Matt Robinson to the inside. They were sideways and battling side by side.
Yeah, this is always really dicey stuff, because it just takes, like we saw it earlier, it just takes one slight wiggle to potentially bring out another caution, which is going to be great for the fuel mileage and the tires. But overall, I know these drivers just really want to get racing, and racing right now is what Jeremy Brown is doing. Still, for a while, that gap is almost a full, almost 9/10 ahead. So Jeremy Brown has been doing fantastic. That clean air has been beautiful. Like you said, the rear diffuser on the car is putting out so much dirty air, and when you don't run in that dirty air, it makes things considerably easier to manage, especially when we're trying to adjust to basically the brand new next gen car.
Yeah, you can see right there on that underbody underneath that Camaro logo, Matt Robinson, and as soon as he got into that wake, he went up a lane on the track. So Nashville, in the real world, as somebody kissed the wall there, I think that may have even been McClendon. In the real world, they actually put down what they call some resin. It's kind of a sticky substance that they put in the upper lanes here. It doesn't really provide extra grip, but it allows the track to absorb more rubber. It makes it a little bit more multi-groove. We don't have that here, so we do tend to be stuck to about a lane and a half of racing here at the virtual Nashville, which is why everyone's painted on that line. But that creates the aero push to be a lot worse. Can't evade the dirty air if there's really only one active line you can use.
Yeah, because like you said earlier, just like on the highway, changing lanes is very vital to getting where you want to go fast. And if you're stuck in that dirty air, it's going to make your car very unstable. And we've seen that bite a few drivers already in the opening stages of this race, as Mike Weida is now right up behind the number 10 car of Michael Hopkins. The gap is about 1.3 tenths of a second now, going side by side with the number 57 car of Mark Herzog there. and these drivers are racing so close to each other that, I mean, sometimes we might even see a little bit of bump drafting a bit later on. We'll just have to see how that is going to play out. But, I mean, like you said, putting that resin on, and I think they've used a similar thing.
Kyle Grush, death wobble. Back straightaway.
Again.
And John Crutchley, Naj, is going to do some agricultural work there to the inside. May have got a little bit of a contact from there. Kyle Grush, again, he is one of the upper echelon drivers in this series. One race is always competitive, and for someone like him to struggle really shows you what these drivers are dealing with here. Let's check out our replay, and again, got loose, and then it bit to the right when he tried to overcorrect it, and that was Naj with the overcorrection to the grass there, but we'll have to see if he's already used his fast repair or if he has another one, but unfortunate break for the 27.
Yeah, this just hasn't really been his night tonight. I mean, that's pretty much exactly the same incident that happened earlier on. He just got a little loose, checked up, and then pretty much just put it in the wall and became the human equivalent of a Beyblade momentarily. So it's just not really been his race here tonight, which is unfortunate because, like you said, he is one of the upper echelon drivers here at Triple Bypass Racing.
And something that these drivers are having to acclimate to, and when you drive an Xfinity car or you drive one of the trucks, the ARCA car, you can drive the car more yawed out. You can drive it more off the right rear tire. You can drive a loose car and kind of wheel your way and save it. The next gen has been never like that. You have to drive it straight, essentially. It doesn't like being sideways. And from what I've read, part of the new update brings that more in line and kind of exponentially increases it. So as soon as you get too loose, what essentially happens is that rear diffuser we talked about, once you get too sideways, it stops making downforce. And it's almost like turning a light switch off. Downforce, downforce, downforce. You get too sideways, you get none of it, and then all of a sudden you just loop it right around. I know on the road side of things, Patrick, you know, a lot of those GT3, GTP cars you're used to, they have those rear underbodies and there's similar effects to them.
Yeah, indeed. And like you said, I mean, as cool as it is seeing a NASCAR drift around the track, the rear diffuser would like to beg to differ. So you get too sideways, that downforce just doesn't really work. Essentially, downforce is creating a vacuum underneath of these cars, basically keeping them plastered to the track. And when you lose that grip, it is very easy to get sideways. And then once you lose the back end of these cars, even if you are the most skilled driver in the world, it is really hard to recover these cars once they're already in their death spin, like you mentioned earlier.
Yep, like I said, it's literally like a digital signal. It either works or it doesn't. It's not like, you know, analog, which, I mean, you're not going to get this because you're too young, Patrick, but back in the day we had rabbit ears. You know, you put an antenna on top of the TV and it would come in a little bit, it'd come in a little bit better, it'd come in perfect. But with, you know, HDMI, it either works or it doesn't. There's no in between, and that's kind of what the downforce is like. I'm sure some of our old timers in chat will get what I'm talking about here. But either way, we are down one to go, and we do want to give another shout out. Just we will multiple times during the broadcast. Actually, it's not Dominic Zanobi. I'm giving him a shout out that he doesn't deserve. It's the 12 of Jared Jackson. We want to thank him for being today's race sponsor in the Action Academy 120. Dominic Zanobi did sponsor a race a few weeks ago, and his Florida Panthers did win the Stanley Cup. So shout out to him and all those Florida Panthers fans. But either way, let's try it again. Another restart. Still Brown and Jackson on the front row. And let's get it going. Let's try it one more time.
Maybe fourth time is the charm here as Jeremy Brown goes ahead and leads the field to green as we're going through the oval. This very beautiful concrete oval here. And we're seeing a lot of these cars get side by side, trying to jockey for position in the early stages of this restart now. We are on lap 20 out of 120, so we're about a sixth of the way through this race here at the Nashville Super Speedway.
Oh, jeepers.
And we're seeing a little bit of a snap there from the number 51.
And he tried to go three wide for a brief moment, thought better of it through that tri-oval here. The tri-oval here at Nashville not as tame as it is on other tracks because the shorter distance, it is a little bit tighter. And big wiggle, hospital wobble, points leader, Steve McClendon. Even the points leader struggling. And then we're having a separate incident. Derek Catt. We got double donuts here on the back straightaway. But because it's off the circuit, off the racing line, we will stay green. You can see the grass sputtering as they go onto the track. We kind of caught it live, so we won't catch replay on that. But even the points leader and Season 6 champion here in Triple Bypass struggling here tonight at Nashville.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes even the greatest drivers have a little bit of difficulty. You're always going to have that one bad race. I mean, it is impossible to be perfect all the time, regardless of how good you are. So sometimes it's just not your night. And we've seen that for quite a few of these drivers here tonight.
Yeah, even, attesting to the real world, Kyle Busch having a self-induced mistake at Nashville last week. And then, spoilers, he had issues in the race that happened today. So some drivers just don't. They may have acclimated to other cars, but it's not acclimating to this car. And we will have another caution flag. And I see Dan Williams, and I see somebody who is utterly decimated. That is Nick Jones. Second time he's had an issue. But let's see what happened to that 35. We'll queue up another replay. Off turn number 4, the trouble spot. Yep, same thing. Hospital wobble down to the inside, and it bit right. And when it bit right, Nick Jones, ouchie boo-boos. And
yeah, that was not the greatest rejoin of all time, but yeah, I mean, you just got to feel bad for Nick Jones because he was basically just a passenger in that incident.
Well, it didn't help that he was having connectivity issues, but he's back. He's back.
Boop.
I mean,
and yeah,
I gotta be real. That's what we do here on PTR TV. He probably should have slowed down, but stuff happens, reactionary stuff. I don't think he really slowed down too much for that, but either way, that's unfortunate for him. Ken announced that Kyle Gresh is out of today's race. He has decided that number 27 is not going to be repaired. Oh, he already used his fast repair, so when he wrecked it the first time, he repaired and didn't have, obviously, another one. So, Steve McClendon, he is in the pits. We have a graphic that will show if they use their fast repair. He has not used it. I don't think he needs to. We'll see very quickly if that graphic updates. No, so he's still yet to use his repair. So, obviously, that 51 lost the track position, but still clean car to get out there and keep racing.
Yeah, it looks like he either got a splash of fuel. I think he just got a little bit of fuel. I don't think he got new tires, but maybe. But if he got new tires, then it's gonna be a bit of a hassle trying to get those things warmed up because we've seen that cold tires have really not been the friend of a lot of the drivers here tonight. So
yeah, this tire model is certainly playing stress with these drivers, and I think your back end actually has it as well there, Patrick, with the timing screen, but there is a category on there. It does tell you if they've used their fast repair, and of the drivers who are kind of currently in the thick of it, the only driver who has is actually Derek Catt in the 29. Everybody ahead of him on the lineup, they are still on their original car. So, but we'll try it again. Lights are out. Whenever that ticker goes blue, that's your indication that we are on 1 to green, so we'll get doubled up, stacked up. I mean, I guess if you're Jeremy Brown there, Patrick, yeah, obviously you want the race to play out, but you almost must kind of like this. Like you're leading laps, you're putting progress into this race, you're fast, and nobody can pass you if you're behind the pace car.
yeah, and also you're pretty much not burning up your tires as much because you said earlier the basic conversion rate is about 2 yellow laps is 1 green lap. So, I mean, at that point, you're going to be in a really good spot when it comes to tire life because, I mean, obviously, yes, you want to be fast, but management plays a good part because the better you manage, I mean, you can be the fastest driver in the world, but if you have to make 20 pit stops compared to somebody only having to make 1 or 2, then you're really not going to do super well. So the less times you can come into the pits, the better. And I think with how many yellows we've had in this session so far, I think those tires are really liking it because they don't ever get to the boiling point where they really start falling off. I know they don't fall off a ton.
I don't want to cut you off too much here, Patrick, but a big change here we're just noticing here. We are on single file restarts. That must have been an admin call. We're not doubling up. We're going single file. They're trying to spread things out here and create some more gap in between these drivers. I don't know if that's going to do anything because they haven't been hitting each other. They've been losing control, but either way, maybe that'll give a little bit more space, a little bit more patience, a little bit cleaner air.
Yeah, I mean, possibly. So we'll see how that goes, but it's not going to stop drivers from going too wide here as the Flow Racing Machine, the number 3 car, is going ahead and trying to go side by side here, trying to make a pass, trying to get stuff done.
Come on. Mike Weeda. Oh, we're still going.
Oh, and there's more. It's a domino effect out here on Nashville, and once again, we're back under yellow flag conditions. Yeah, I mean, once 2 cars lose it, especially when you have a field this tightly packed, they're packed basically like a can of sardines. And so just domino effects like that are going to happen as we get the PTR TV instant replay.
Yeah, this replay.
Once you get a better idea of what happened here.
Yeah, this replay is getting a little busy here tonight, but that's the 3 of Alan Kunman down to the inside. It seemed as though the 6 may have thought he was going to go onto the apron and didn't really give room there. At least that's from what it seemed like. And you saw some residual contact there as well back of the field. I think that's Jeff Slaughter who is the one backing down the racetrack. So either way, this race is starting off on a really rough foot, and we are going to step aside really briefly and just gather up things, grab some water. We'll be back with you for the restart, so please stay with us. We'll be back in about 60 seconds. So this is just a quick interjection to tell you that we're going back to commercial, but instead of doing the commercial feed, we're going to go back and play last week's Chicago Street Circuit race recap. So instead of doing random race cars doing autocross, let's go watch last week's action at Chicago.
On June 15th, 2025, the Triple Bypass Nichols Oil Pros Series took on the tight and twisting Chicago street circuit for 40 laps of high-stakes action. With only 3 leaders and 2 lead changes, track position and mistake-free driving made all the difference on this unforgiving street course. Brad Kress and Chad Bear sponsored the race, and so, from the holler to the Harbor 40 was set to go. Thank you to the Big Ridge boys. William Emmert, driving car 405, put together a clinical drive after starting 3rd to claim the win. He led 4 laps on his way to the top step after contact with the leader. Emmert used his speed and focus to break away from the field to record his victory. Keaton Crothers in car 809 started 2nd and battled throughout the race to come home in the runner-up spot. Crothers led 12 laps after inheriting the lead from Bear, but finished 13.9 seconds behind Emmert after getting spun on lap 35 and losing touch. Michael Hopkins, driving the 10, kept things tidy from 6th on the grid and brought it home in 3rd. He crossed the line 15.4 seconds behind Crothers and 29.3 seconds behind the leader with 0 incident points. Chad Bear started from the pole and led a race-high 24 laps, but had an equipment issue leading to a brutal crash. Despite a lengthy pit stop, he rocketed back to the top 5 with an impressive drive. Jeremy Brown, driving car 46, rounded out the top 5 with a clean and consistent performance. The race featured a dramatic battle for the lead with Emmert taking the checkered flag at this toughest of tracks. Congratulations, Emmert. We hope you enjoyed this Triple Bypass Nichols Oil Pro Series recap.
All right, back to it here. Let's cut the last seconds off because we are here for a restart after the most recent yellow flag. The yellow flags have been piling up, but we're going single file on our restarts now and trying to get this thing to spread out, because one thing that can happen, Patrick, is once this spreads out and maybe these guys get a few car lengths in between each other, they're going to start getting that fresh air on the nose. They're going to start getting that downforce that they ever so desire. And yes, it may not be the most exciting thing in the world because the cars will be spaced out, but at least it'll give them the traction to, to be able to race without maybe self-spinning as much.
Exactly, but as the field does spread out, some of these drivers might even start running into lapped traffic, and traffic management in its own right is a very tough thing to master, whether it's in oval racing, whether it's in multi-class racing. Dealing with lapped cars is never easy, so
here we go
maybe
again.
That's something we might see.
Derek Catt.
Oh, and would you look at that?
Yeah. Derek Catt is undergoing some issues in that number 29. Not the first time, but let's see what happened this time. Turn 4. I believe we'll go from a top-down shot. I think that was on his own volition. I don't think that was any contact. The 3 was behind. Alan Cudman, yep, he just lost it on his own. I wouldn't say the 3 was even close enough to take any air off the spoiler, which usually isn't even a thing in next gen anyways, but either way, another caution flag, but this will give us the opportunity, assuming that he's in our chats, to, if you see him, let me know, the 12 of Jared Jackson. Usually we'd have a sponsor segment where we'll talk to the race sponsor, but I don't see him here, so I guess we're off the hook with that job. Yeah, I'm looking down. There's no Jared Jackson here, so. But again, thanks for him for shouting it out. He is driving the number 12, the Action Academy car. So again, Action Academy 120. You can see the race logo there on the bottom left of the screen. But, our weather condition, that's what we were going to talk about, Patrick. 79 in the air, 80 track temp, 9:30 virtual time. Very dry air, wind negligible, but 80 degrees is very, very cool, and concrete doesn't really like cold temperatures. Which I think might be adding to the grip loss here. I know in the real world, Martinsville, Dover, Bristol, they are very, very difficult setup-wise, tire-wise on the cold temperatures, and maybe some of that is transcoding itself into the virtual world.
Yeah, I mean, these slick tires are very much like Floridians. Coming from a Floridian, they're not big fans of the cold, so they won't operate super well in the colder conditions. Now, granted, while air temperature 79 is pretty nice weather, 80 would be a bit toasty depending on what region you're in, but on track, yeah, typically you want to be in the 100s, maybe the 110s even.
Yeah, that lets that rubber lay down and puts it a little bit more in the driver's hands, but obviously we don't know what the driver's hands is yet because we're learning this car. Next week, we'll be live here as well on PTR TV. We will be at Loudon for the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, so it'll be interesting to see that, my personal home track. So we'll see how these drivers fare there. Rather than the high speeds, we'll go to the Magic Mile, about a 1 mile paperclip, heavy braking zones, flat track. So we'll see how that fares with this update, but on 1 to green once again. And normally I say we're getting doubled up, stacked up, but we're getting single file snaked here. All 28 drivers still on the racetrack are on the lead lap and currently running up to par.
Indeed, yeah, we're going to get underway here very, very shortly. The blue stripe on the screen means we are 1 lap away from the green flag action here. Once again, as it's been for honestly the entirety of this race, Jeremy Brown and Jared Jackson, they'll be your top 2 going into the restart. It is single file line. And I mean, I'm not sure if the single file line has really helped a lot compared to the double stack, but hey, I mean,
Yeah,
hopefully this time we'll be able to get some good racing laps under our belt.
Yeah, it's an attempt. That's what I give them. It's an attempt, but in this situation, it's not drivers wrecking each other. It's guys who just are having troubles with their cars. So it's an attempt to clean things up, but we'll see what happens. We'll try it again here at the Nashville Fairgrounds. I kind of wish we were at Nashville Fairgrounds. Nashville Super Speedway. Green flag in the air. Everybody will funnel on through. I think we already have a quick side-by-side. That's the 34 of Robinson going and diving underneath Harcum there in that Dr. Pepper Toyota down to the inside. First side-by-side battle, and you already saw the wiggle off of corner number 2.
Yeah, I mean, these drivers are really on the first-class seat of the struggle bus when it comes to getting these tires warmed up and getting the grip that these cars so desperately desire. I mean, you got the dirty air that's messing with the diffuser and these basically ice baby cold tires that are on these next-gen NASCARs at the moment. So, I mean, so far these drivers have behaved. The number 45 car of Al Corey is now trying to go around the outside of Steve McClendon there. Doesn't quite get it done. Slots right back in. Gonna try to get a good amount of that slipstream and maybe try to get a pass done sooner rather than later. He's in a spot where he's getting a tad bit of clean air very momentarily as we navigate this concrete tri-oval.
Yeah, I think it was actually the inverse. I think McClendon is on his comeback tour, and Al was one of the chopping blocks on that. Now it's Ward Fisher. Ward Fisher all the way out of the groove there, and I'm not talking about Eric East at broadcast. Out of the groove there in turn number 2, and Steve McClendon will clear. That'll put him in the 14th spot. Remember, our points leader, last season champion. Very rare for him to make a self-induced mistake. And somebody down on the flat, that in-and-out Camry, I think that's Bart Herzog. Not sure if something happened to him, but he was quite slow, getting surpassed on the outside. Still seems a little off the pace.
Yeah, because now he's going to be under a good amount of pressure of the duo of Steve McClendon, and then just directly behind him is the number 84 car of Ward Fisher. So, I mean, those cars are going to be putting him under a lot of pressure, especially if they sense weakness. They're going to be like a shark smelling blood in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. They smell blood, and they're going to capitalize on it. But if one driver makes a mistake, then it's going to be at least 3 or 4 other drivers directly behind them that are willing to take a free position. As we see the number 3 Flow Racing Toyota Camry going ahead and defending very nicely. Okay. We'll see if he can hold up that defense, though, because, I mean, so far, defense has been pretty prevalent here in this race when we've actually been under green flag conditions.
Yeah, this next-gen car is actually more of a defensive car than it is an offensive car, and you could say whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Most people will say it's a bad thing, but in the sense that you can do a lot of mirror blocking, guess where the guy behind you is going to go, dump that dirty air on his nose, and then he will just be stuck, and you will, gain all that position. So, and that is just put more in the forefront with the recent updates that have occurred. So, and let's just kind of go back up front, show you what's going on. Conga line looks like Jared Jackson, our race sponsor, is causing a stack up there off corner number 2, and you can see about 5 cars behind. And who was that? Matt Robinson in the wall. That loses him some momentum. 2 gets stuck behind him. That's Ty Bass. And then Keaton Crothers in the, is that Keaton Crothers? Nope, that is Ben Harcum in the Dr. Pepper car in the middle. This is all going back to from 2nd to about, I'd say, 8 or 9.
Yeah, I mean, these cars are all pretty much packed together.
I'm trying to find the car. I don't see anything overly eminent here. Oh my God, duh. This is our stage caution. So I was wondering why there wasn't a wreck. And we talked about it, but I just completely forgot about it because the flow of the race kind of got kerfuffled up there. But this is our pre-dictated stage caution. So a playoff point, and the affiliated points will go to Jeremy Brown. That will help him in the playoffs later this season, but it'll be another caution because as soon as we got going, the stage comes out and interrupts it. So now we'll finally come to pit road. this will stunt the fuel mileage game that we were talking about, because this will, barring 87,000 more cautions, they will need to pit once more for fuel to finish this thing out, but we'll get a set of tires and see how that comes into be.
Yeah, because I mean, they really gotta be thinking about the management, because they only have 3 sets of tires that they can use here. So most of these drivers will be swapping onto that second set of tires, even if only on half of the car. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the stage goes, but it looks like everybody is swapping out all 4 of those tires, as we're seeing a scramble out of the pit lane to get back on track as we get ready to wrap up this stage caution and get back to green flag racing here.
Yeah, at least it was nice to see the green flag racing happen there. But where would we be without a little bit of strategy? I'll bring up on the ticker and it'll show you that the top 4 drivers have remained on the racetrack. Alan Kunman, Dylan Freeman, Mike Weida, and Tex Nichols. And I'm going to personally say that I like this call. And the reason I like this call is for what I've already said. I was privy to information that tire wear is not adding up on the stopwatch. So that will give track position to Kunman and, well, Freeman and everybody accordingly. It'll give them track position, give them clean air, and even still, we're guaranteed to need to make another pit stop anyways. So this could very well be a very advantageous decision for at least the top 3. It looks like Tex Nichols did pit.
Yeah, and I mean, even then, because I mean, considering how many cautions we've had early on, I mean, Alan Kudman and the other drivers who have yet to pit, so our top 3, they're going to be in a really advantageous position, because they're not going to be burning their tires as much under a consistent caution. Hopefully for the action side of things, we don't have any other cautions and we can just go pedal to the metal green flag from lap 47 or 48 all the way down to the final lap of this race. But if there is a safety car or a pace car that comes back out and another caution, then it's really going to benefit these guys who haven't pitted.
Yeah, if the caution comes out, I'd say maybe around 65. That'll bring most everybody in, because that would be the fuel window has been open. They'll be able to make the end of the race. So if they can get that caution, or if it just naturally runs green, I think it certainly could be in the favor, but we have to see what speed these drivers have. As we are back to double file, I guess we're going to try it out and see if some better luck can be attained on the green flag. On the loud pedal is the 3, huge gap, second to third. Dylan Freeman and Mike Weida were out to lunch. Remember, Weida, he was involved in an incident a little bit earlier, did have to use his fast repair, but taking advantage of it in the 3rd spot.
Yeah, we saw this earlier with Jeremy Brown, where Jeremy Brown, on the restarts, he would just start flying away. I mean, there's a lot of points where he was up into the 0.8 of a gap, or 0.8 of a second gap to the car in second. So maybe we're seeing more of that clean air just being so advantageous, as our former front row drivers of Jeremy Brown and the race sponsor of Jared Jackson are going side by side. Toyota Camry versus Chevrolet Camaro.
Oh, well, I'll actually, this is not you. This is just a weird little addendum. Jared Jackson is driving a Lexus. Don't ask me how. Well, he's painted his car up to be a Lexus. I don't even know how that happened. I don't know. I thought iRacing.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
I don't know how iRacing, because I know they stamp certain logos on, but apparently he has manipulated the dragons here and allowed a Lexus to be on the track. So, but carry on.
So what kind of Lexus would we call it, though? I mean, certainly not an LFA. I mean, as beautiful as a V10 would be around this NASCAR circuit.
He's waiting to send a demo to Lexus headquarters and get them to be the next manufacturer into NASCAR, but that's what he's doing right there. But Dylan Freeman on his downward tour. Avril Lavigne's he's going in the direction of Avril Lavigne's career, which is downward into a death and spiral, as Dylan Freeman is into the fence and bringing out another yellow. And that is Jeremy Brown. Oh, no! I believe, yep, that's Jeremy Brown. That is hopefully nothing that he can't recover from, but And I don't know if Avril Lavigne's career will recover from it either.
Yeah, that's a bit of an unfortunate moment there for Jeremy Brown. Just once
Hospital
again got
wobble.
loose and got collected.
Yep, and then Jeremy Brown, yeah, that's significant damage. Oh my God, who is that flying? That's Daniel Williams going through the grass. That backstretch grass is going to need to get I don't know what they call it when they put new grass down. There's a fancy word for it that I can't think of right now. But either way, Jeremy Brown, if he's going to want to win this race, he's going to have to use his backup car, and he is going to have to drive like a madman. Look at that right front. That right front tire ain't right fronting anymore. So he's going to...
Yeah, that's an extra front left.
Yeah, talk about camber rules there. But we are... going to, I guess at this point, I'll start mainly doing interviews here. We can only gabber on for so long here. Let's take a look here of anybody up front. This is we had talked. It's funny enough. We were talking about dead air time earlier there, Patrick, and I said, "Oh, we don't got to worry about it." Evidently we do here tonight. It wasn't in the cards, but we'll sort things through. I'm looking through here who is available in the top 5 or so that we can have a word with. I guess I got Ben Harcum here in the 6th spot. He's, I think, the highest one that I can find in Discord. You got a copy, Ben? Top Ben, Corey in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. Well, this race is, I don't think, it's not what I expected. I don't know if it's what you expected from practice, but hanging on to the car has been the name of the game here today. That can of Dr. Pepper seems to not be dented yet. So how's it hanging out there? How you handling tonight's race?
It's going good. Wish we could on all these cautions get a good run going here, but I feel like I got a good shot to win tonight. I was in practice there a while ago, so I feel like I got a good shot. Hopefully we can get a good couple green runs going here.
Is it a matter of the changes to the is it a matter of just Nashville being a hard track, or is it a matter of guys just really struggling with these recent physics updates?
I think it's got a lot to do with these recent physics update. It's like a lot of dirty air.
Yeah, well, hopefully that none of that bad luck rubs off on you. I'm a Dr. Pepper fan, so biased towards you to have a good rest of the race, man. Good luck.
All righty, thank you.
Yep, so we will attest to the physics updates, and I was hoping I didn't want to have his connectivity issues. They were blinking when I was talking to him, so I didn't want to get him booted out of the race on an interview there, but Jeremy Brown, just to focus on him very quickly, there he is exiting the pits with that backup car. He's going to have to boot, scoot, and boogie to get caught back up here because we are in turn number 3. We are still yet to eclipse the halfway point, so hopefully we can get this thing chugging along. One of these times, Patrick, one of these times, it's going to be the magic restart that sets us free. And I'm going to be optimistic. It's this time.
Yeah, I think we're on 7th time as a charm now.
We're going to have play our famous caution game a little bit towards the end of the race, but probably. But either way, green flag back in the air.
Yep, and we are back going racing. The number 3 Flow Sport Lexus.
Flow Racing.
Oh no.
Flow Racing kind of, it's a channel a streaming network that kind of houses all the local and regional dirt races.
Yeah, they came to my college not too long ago for a career fair. I actually talked to them for a bit. Pretty nice people over there at Flow Sport. I think I have a pen/highlighter type thing from them somewhere, but we can worry about that another time. But right now, Allen is still in the lead of this race here in Nashville. And so far, these cars are behaving. And so far, it's been pretty competitive when we've been under green flag conditions here, as Michael Hopkins now has a few cars to worry about. The number 809 car of Keaton Crothers is inching closer on the outside. Not going to get the pass done, but even then, Steve McClendon is looking to make a position up, and I think he does have that position up onto Keaton. He does make the position up, and it looks like Michael Hopkins is going to be safe for now, but How long are they going to stay safe for? That is only a matter of time before we find out.
Keaton Carruthers really, we got the carnage in the back. I think we're sort of saving it. It's Jason Benson in the 42 that had a moment off of the corner here. We stay green, but we will very quickly try to sort out what happened to him there. Oh, hospital wobble, that's what I call it. He got loose. And when they get loose, it has been when it corrects hard. And unfortunately for him, he doesn't get the reprieve of a caution, so he will lose a bunch of track position, probably multiple laps. Getting that fast repair, but for the benefit of everybody else, we do stay green.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, I'm glad we actually were able to get a few more laps in, and we're still going green flag conditions. I know these drivers are loving it because in the interview earlier with Ben.
Oh, live. Commentator curse. Save it. Don't hook. It hooked.
And then he just got a little bit of a love tap in the back. And there is the caution. I think I am personally going to ban myself from mentioning anything about the duration of a green flag state.
So he done sent it in. That's what it did. He sent it in trying to get a position on Carruthers. He drove it in too hard. It wiggled. And the 122 of Brian Dickens had a hard time reacting to it, it appeared. And some contact and some issue. And just trying to queue up Brian Dickens here, what he saw. I mean, from his perspective, I can't blame him. Everybody has kind of hard cut to the right when they tried to save it. So I think he planned for that, and that was the one time they stayed to the bottom.
Yeah, unfortunate there. I don't really think he's definitely not at fault for that by any stretch. Just really unfortunate. And we've been seeing a lot of drivers get unlucky just in this race in general. A lot of drivers, like earlier on, Jeremy had a fantastic run. I mean, he definitely had the pace, but just got caught as a passenger in an unfortunate incident that really kind of wrecked his race, for the lack of a better phrase. But hey, we actually made it to the halfway point this time.
Yes, we did, and that is pivotal in the sense that they now don't really need to pit. Well, actually, let me asterisk that thought. From here on out, they don't need to pit anymore. They will have enough fuel if they pit from here on out. 60 laps is basically the fuel run, so if you pit now, it's a one-stop race. There are a few drivers. William Emmert in the 405. You have Matt Harmon. You got Al Corey. Jeremy Brown building aside. He is in the pits, as well as the 122 of Dickens, who was just involved in that. So those drivers, they are hoping the impossible happens. And I'm not talking about a pinch hit grand slam bottom of the 9th inning. I'm talking about this going green to the end, which I guess may or may not be the same thing.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything because so far the last few times I've said, we've been green for a while. A caution came out within a lap or so. So I'm going to refrain from making any predictions on that, but I'm just going to say I hope we get green flag conditions from here to the end of lap 120 because the racing here has been fantastic. A lot of these drivers have been giving it their all when we've been under these green flag conditions. So we got one more lap of this current caution, and then the pace car is going to pull on in, and then we're going to get back to racing.
I'm going to just pull it up there on the ticker. You can see the length of the stints that these drivers are currently on, which according is just a matter since their last pit stop. Alan Cunman at 32 laps. You have some drivers at 16 laps. So that would mean they pitted around lap 46 or something like that. Hard math there. That'd be about almost 80 laps to the end, which at this rate of cautions might actually be possible. But the first person to pit to be able to 100% make the end of this race on fuel would probably be Steve McClendon, and he is in that 17th position. And he has the speed, he has the experience to be able to do it, although he did make a self-induced mistake. So we'll watch that if the strategy does allow that to come to fruition, but we're going to have another single file restart there, Patrick.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the last few incidents have just been drivers getting collected, so maybe in this case the single file restart is the better way to go. You got to give it credit to race control. They're trying to make this where we have green flags for quite a while, and it is green flag racing once again. The Flow Racing Toyota of Alan Kunman is going to lead us now to green, and we are back. He is in his flow state, and hopefully we can stay in that flow state as we go ahead and begin lap number 63 out of 120 here at Nashville.
Yes, indeed the case here. Here comes Harcum with a good run to the back of Wida in the 6 car. Trying to trudge through that dirty air and see if he can get that 6th position here, but not for the time being. We did get very spread out, which I'm going to chalk that up to a good thing here. First side-by-side, going to be back in the 20th spot, and that's where Jeremy Brown, he is just behind this in the 21st spot. He's trying to get underneath Naj in that 48, John Crutchley. He'll be door-to-door with him down the back straightaway. Big dive in. That big dive is what caused our last caution, but he kept things wound down. And can he get off the corner without getting loose? Answer is yes, but he's still stuck side by side. Dylan Freeman went 3 wide, and what in the world happened to the outside? And it'll bring another caution out. That's the league sponsor, Tex Nichols, and that left front ain't left fronting.
Yeah, I mean, I know sometimes the younger generation likes.
This is a thing. On board with Tex here. Car in the grass. That is the 29. Oh my God.
Oh.
So the 29 blinked out and rejoined the virtual world at the worst possible time. So
yikes.
This is following Derek Cat, and I think this may be the 3rd time Derek's had an issue here today, so it's not been a good day. Loose.
Ooh.
Now, I thought he blinked out from the other perspective. Yeah, he blinked out and then rejoined as Tex was passing. That is just the worst dumb luck scenario that could ever possibly fathom.
How he didn't collect the number 84 of Ward Fisher in that incident is, I mean, he's got to be counting his lucky stars there. Took the lucky stars away from the league sponsor, which is, yeah, like you just said, it's just dumb luck. And I feel like that's been the story of just this entire race, is just some drivers have some really solid pace, but they just get caught out with just the worst luck humanly imaginable in this race.
Yeah, let's just have a word with somebody else who is relatively up front, Michael Hopkins. All right, Michael, Corey, and the guys up top, you got us? Oh, Michael, Corey up top, you got me, bud?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, let's just say we're running out of filler talk, so we're going to you guys to give us stuff to talk about. This race has been, dare I say, interesting. Looks like the 10 car has managed to survive the ruckus thus far. What's been the biggest challenge tonight?
Yeah, just need some green flag laps here. I think I got some long run speed, but we're not getting long runs. You know what I mean? So just kind of is what it is. Avoid the wrecks, take care of the car, and see how it goes here at the end of the race.
Yeah, it seems like what I call the hospital wobble. Everybody's getting dead sideways on exit, and then once they correct it, it just insta snaps. Is there something that you're doing? Is there a secret sauce, or have you just found some way to mitigate that from happening to you?
Yeah, my best guess here is that it's probably just throttle control on exit, so I'm not mashing it all the way down. Just being patient, basically, right? So that'd be my guess here.
All right, man. Well, let's get back at it. Hopefully we don't commentators curse you there. You got 7th spot, plenty of time. Let's see if you can get it. So, again, just and that's a big statement too. Throttle control. I mean, there's a big talk in the racing community of whether these next-gen cars need a little bit more power. They're a little too easy to drive. So sometimes people think that on a lot of tracks you can stab the throttle and just get away with it. But maybe with this tire model, with this cold concrete surface, a little bit of modulations into it. I mean, maybe just these drivers aren't used to from, past iterations of the car.
Yeah, and typically, I mean, I know ovals, like the whole stigma around ovals is you flat out and turn left, but there's a lot of ovals you can't even do that. There's a lot of shorter ovals. I mean, I know there's a lot of the massive speedways, like you got Daytona, you got Talladega, and you got all those other bigger tracks, but this isn't really one of those bigger tracks. It's pretty small compared to some of the other ovals that you commonly race at as we get ready to go single file line, snake line, as you referred to earlier, and we are back. Green flag action, lap 69 out of 120. And hopefully these drivers will have a bit of a nicer time during this restart. And like Michael Hopkins said earlier, hopefully we get some long runs here.
Well, I'm not even, let's just go with a run. Let's go with about 15 laps, and then we'll start from there. Then we'll work our way in low. Let's see, let's walk before we can run, I guess, as they like to say. Jeff Slaughter, he was in a caution earlier. I think he had problems in practice and qualifying too that we had covered. But he is up to the top 12 right now in that number 88 car. Steve McClendon just behind him. Where is our pole sitter / dominator here on the day? Jeremy Brown, he is 18th, so laps ticking away. And I mean, I guess for him, I don't even know what he would want there, Patrick. Would he want this thing to go green, or would he want the cautions and to try to, gain the spots just via attrition?
Yeah, that's a tough call, honestly, because, I mean, as you saw in the early stages of this race, he's clearly got the pace, and, I mean, he's clearly got that Camaro dialed in, and, I mean, he's been on the ball with the pace here today. He hasn't really made a lot of mistakes, if any mistakes, quite honestly. He's been very consistent, very smooth with the car, and, I mean, we talked about earlier, just keeping the car going in the right direction has been the big talk of the day, and he's been managing that perfectly as the Bass Pro Shop Camaro. I think I saw spin there in the back, potentially.
Oh, my God.
Yep, sure enough.
The millisecond that I cut to a different battle, Brian Dickens in the 122, he has appeared to take it behind the wall. Let's quickly take a look at what happened. That's Jeremy Brown. So that was and there goes Avril's career again. She had a resurgence, and it's all for naught. That is an age-old situation of two guys going for the same lane, and I have a hard time putting blame on Jeremy Brown there. I'm going to call it there because I'm not an admin and it's not my job to get guys in trouble, but that one was just two guys going for the same piece of real estate.
Yeah, these cars aren't exactly made out of Play-Doh, so you can't really mash them together and make it seamless. Just like even driving on the highway, two cars really cannot fit in one lane. Otherwise, you're gonna have a little bit of contact. You're gonna cause a little bit of damage. At minimum, you're gonna be trading paint. But yeah, I think that's just more of a racing incident, if anything. But I'm not a steward. I am a commentator, and honestly, a steward is such an unenviable position, but I have a lot of respect for the stewards.
Yep, and that is a pit stop here. So we have, about 7 or 8 drivers coming to the attention of their crews. And again, we are in the window to finish this thing out. There are a few drivers, namely Alan Cunban up front, who is not in a position to finish this thing out, even with the gargantuan number of cautions we have. He is not in position to finish this thing out, so I don't know when he's planning on making that final stop. I would rather just get it out of the way, but I'm also not a driver, and kind of like DW in his last few years in the booth, his opinion doesn't mean anything because it's very outdated, and that's my knowledge of the next gen. I don't race these things enough to know exactly what's going on, but I would want to pit and get that stop done if I was him.
Yeah, I mean, even if we just had a constant amount of safety cars and cautions like we've had here today, I mean, the Flow Racing car, I mean, it's doing good now, but I mean, we haven't really seen a full glimpse of the pace. We haven't really had a run longer than about 5-ish or so laps in this race so far. So we haven't really seen what Alan's true pace is around this speedway. But we know that a lot of these drivers have been very quick on the day. So, yeah, but I 100% agree. I would have already pitted, honestly, if I was Alan.
Let's get it out of the way, but let's just quickly do it through the field on this 1 to green. We'll speed on through it. We got Alan Kunman leading this thing down. Brad Kress in second. Matt Robinson in third. Ben Harcum in fourth. We got Sean Bradley in fifth. We have Mark Herzog in sixth, Dom Zanobi in seventh, Ward Fisher in eighth, McClendon in ninth, and Josh Corner in 10th. I'm just going to speed right through this, Patrick. We got Jeremy Brown in 11th, William Emert in 12th, the boss man Al Corey in 13th. We got Matt Harmon running in 14th, John Crutchley-Naj running in 15th, John Campbell in 16th. Fresh with a new whip, we got Tex Nichols in 17th. Michael Hopkins, we just spoke to him. He is in 18th. Our race sponsor, pardon me. Jared Jackson 19th, Mike Weeda in 20th, and the remaining drivers on track. We got Ty Bass, Keaton Crothers in 22nd, Daniel Williams, and then we have Jeff Slaughter in 24th, Dylan Freeman 25th, and then the last car on the track is Jason Benson in the 26th spot. Out of the race is Dickens, Cat Gresh, and Nick Jones as we head through 3 and 4. And for the upbeat time here today, let's have ourselves a restart.
Yeah, let's hope this one we do get a solid run here. And once again, as has been for the last few cautions, Alan is going to go ahead and lead us to green here around Nashville. It'll be on lap 76 out of 120. We are getting there, and actually I was 1 lap ahead. Oh, there it is. Now it updated. But yes, on this Action Academy 120, we're on lap 76 out of 120. Back to green flag conditions right now. So far, the single file line has been held up pretty nicely, although some cars are going to go side by side. Trying to make a few moves from the restart. So I believe that is that is Steve McClendon trying to get past Ward Fisher, and he will do just that. Now his next opponent is going to be the Florida Panthers number 30 car, driven by Dominic Zanobi. Is he going to get that move done too? It looks like he does. So Steve McClendon is probably going to be a driver that we really should keep our eyes on if this stays in green flag conditions.
Yeah, he's going to try to do the old spin and win, which that logic applies to a lot of the fields here today. And actually, I got to point this out. I did talk about it a little bit in pre-race. 2025 Stanley Cup champion, Florida Panthers. They did win. I hate the Panthers because they beat the Bruins a few years, but Brad Marchand, our famous Bruin for the long time, he is on there now, so he won a Stanley Cup, so I'm all well and happy. But we do love good paint schemes here in this series, so always showing that. And speaking of paint schemes we haven't followed here today, William Emmert, I know Brad's watching in chat. That's not ice cream. Mustang Broncos. I have a feeling that's something about college football, and I know nothing about college football. I don't know, but it's not ice cream, so it's not nearly as interesting, William, but it is a nice paint scheme. Either way, Condon taking advantage of that clean air, but he, with his stint length that they're of about 49 laps and still 40 to go, all has to assume he has to pit. I know we've had a bajillion and a half cautions, but all has to assume he's not going to make it, given what we expect of 60 laps.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's probably, he might be able to make it to lap 100, but I think his tires are going to be boiled, and his fuel is going to be basically non-existent, so he's going to have to make that pit stop probably sooner rather than later, and then it's at the point it's going to be like a bunch of diminishing returns for the current race leader. You're going to start losing a lot of time to the car behind, but he is got about over half a second gap to Matthew Robinson in the number 34 car just behind him. But a lot of action is happening here in this mid-pack here. I know Ward Fisher is amongst this battle, the number 8 car as well. And there's just that's the number 6 car. A lot of these cars are getting close, but this is the one thing you really want to see. And never mind.
That's not what we want to see, Patrick. And we have an insta-tow in the form of Daniel Williams. And Penn State, I don't have any jokes because I don't follow college sports, but Penn State having issues. And hospital, that was not a hospital wobble. That's a 6 feet under wobble right there.
You already got a first class reservation to the afterlife with that kind of wobble. That was scary, getting an onboard view about that. That just looks weird.
Yeah, just
Like,
watch that,
I also
watch that
wanted
wheel.
to suspect. Yeah.
That little bit to the right, that little flick to the right, and that's when the car bit, and that's when his right front fender just bounced into outer space there. And we will catch up to the pace car and pit stops. Here comes Kunman and a few others, not everybody, because remember, not everyone needs to pit. So this is going to shake up the running order, and I think it's going to hurt the three who showed that clean air speed. But we'll see how it shakes out. A good majority, probably at least 10 plus coming in this time.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point now, they're definitely going to be able to make it to the end. They're going to have fresh tires, so if these drivers do really have that pace that we've been talking about for the entirety of the night, then they can really start cutting through this field, ideally without causing another caution, because I've lost track of how many cautions we've had on the night so far, but when we do get racing, things have been very, very spicy and a lot of fun.
So obviously you don't cover a lot of cautions on your road streams there, Patrick, but what we like to do, we have a graphic that tells you how many yellows there is, and I do have all the technology to put it on the screen and make it, but we like to have fun and do a guessing game. And in a race like this, I have no idea. I don't have any inner way to check right now of what the caution is outside of pulling that graphic. So maybe around lap 100 we'll play our old fun caution game and see if someone can price us right and see who was closer. But after that set of pit stops where the top, and I'll pull the stint graphic up once more now that we're kind of situated in line again. Robinson, 37 laps. Now we got to do math, which is never fun. I think we actually have 37 to go. So 37 times 2 is 74, which is a lot more than 59. But with this many cautions, it could very well be plausible that he can make it. But again, Steve McClendon, 23 laps, 37 to go. He's right at 60. Herzog would be a stretch. Brown should be good. And then everybody else absolutely certainly can finish this thing out.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how this goes, and especially if I'm going to try this reverse psychology commentaries, guys, especially if we get another 3 cautions or so, then these cars are definitely going to be able to make it to the end with this current fuel and tire load. So we'll just have to see how it goes.
Let's see here. This is usually a good indication. I'll pull up my onboard graphic. Yep, he's clutching it. You can see the RPMs pegged at 1900. That means he is full clutching and using, he's just straight coasting essentially. And then he spikes the throttle just a little bit just to keep up with the pace car, not get anybody in trouble. But he is in ultra mega super duper fuel mode is Matt Robertson in the 34. But we'll enter that Echo Park restart zone for the umpteenth +1 time here today, sponsored by Echo Park. We're not going to call it Echo Park Speedway. It's Atlanta. I don't care what anybody says, but the green flag back in the air.
And we are green once again. Like Corey said, we are back under green flag conditions. Your top 3, Matthew Robinson, Sean Bradley, and Steve McClendon there. But we'll see. There's already some moves being made through this field, and that is a very optimistic move. But he's got the inside line. The number 12 car of Jared Jackson. It's so close. A little bit of a love smooch against the wall, but I think for now we have avoided yet another caution.
Yeah, I saw that 12 skating up the track. Oh, Al Corey kind of had a little wiggle up to the second lane there. I was worried he might get a little hospital wobble himself, a little baby wobble, a doctor's office wobble for Mike Weida there off of 2, but he was able to retain control of the vehicle. Ty E. Bass. We have a little running gag on the channel, Patrick, that we for Ty E. Bass, that we say the middle name stands for, and then it's something pertinent to what is happening in the moment. I don't have my puns live and ready to go here today, and the letter E is very tricky. So I'll pass that joke for now, but Ty E. Bass is trying to make a move, and that will be interrupted by Mark Herzog, who is dead sideways middle of the track and evading high and low.
Oh boy. I think in my mind, I know it's 2 words, but I think E stands for enough cautions to last a lifetime.
Yeah.
Oh, yep, and that's a tap.
Well, let's check. Was it air or was it a tap? That's Jeremy Brown. That was air. He was around already.
Yeah, yep, you're right.
And then he just got KO'd for the punch there.
Yep, but hey, at least he's now still going straight. We've seen a few cars get taken out of the running entirely or for extended periods of time with those incidents, but it is good to see the number 57 of Mark Herzog there going ahead and still being able to participate in this race. We are approaching a lap number 89, and now we're seeing some more drivers pit. Matthew Robinson does pit from the lead here.
Yeah, and that's interesting. Maybe he did his math and it wasn't as close as he expected, because we saw him clutching it, so I would have assumed he would have been able to make it, but I guess not. But again, typically I only like doing one commercial a race, but guys, you got to be real with me. I can only yabber on for so long. We're just going to go fill up our waters, be back with you for the finish. Stay with us. All right, we are back here after another restart here in the Action Academy 120 for the Triple Bypass Racing League. 30 laps to go in what has been a battered and bruised race here for the majority of the field. Sean Bradley leading his first laps of the day. Steve McClendon trying to do the old spin and win, which is pretty common of a tale here today. But look at who's in that third spot there, Patrick. Jeremy Brown has survived the carnage, and the strategy has him up front in that third spot. He should be good on fuel, and we know that 46 has the speed.
Yeah, that 46 has been rapid all night long so far. When we've been under the green flag conditions, when he was leading this race. And that is Steve McClendon turning that Camaro into a very expensive lawnmower, but well, I still see the fact that we are still green, so let's just get a replay on that and see what happened here.
Hospital wobble, except the thing that he did differently than everybody else is he tried to save it, but I guess, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but he didn't allow it to correct too much, maybe mitigating how much he turned the wheel to the right. So the spin and win for him, likely is not going to happen. But what it does do is it puts Jeremy Brown, gives him one less car to have to pass. And we'll keep an eye on that gap. Al Corey in the 5th spot, getting surpassed by Ty E. Fast. The E stands for everybody watch out. I think I used that joke last week. I got to work on the letter E synonyms here. Ben Harcum in the Dr. Pepper car. We talked to him a little earlier. He's getting by Keaton Crothers. That puts him in the 8th spot.
Yeah, looks like it got very close to the wall there on that, right around that start-finish corner. The number 89 car directly behind, and this is going to get spicy really quickly now, because I mean at some point a lot of these drivers are just wanting to make it to the end of this race. That is going to be their number one priority. The number 10 car of Michael Hopkins shaking for a move onto Brad Kress.
Oh, who's down there?
Brad Kress, apologies.
Somebody.
And so far we're still going good.
Jason Benson in the 42. Didn't see what happened to him, but a pit stop to be had. But we're finally getting a little semblance of normality here at Nashville. I probably shouldn't have said that out loud, but I'll pay the price for it if it comes into fruition. But Sean Bradley under tight confines from Steve McClendon, but McClendon having to deal with the normality of the next gen car, and that's dirty air. Let's put up our battle graphic. You saw how hard he drove it in the corner. He's right dead center in that wake. He's trying to, never mind.
I feel like that's been the story of the night, is drivers trying to, never
I'm
mind.
trying to plead some drama. I'm trying to create some excitement, guys. Let me make this exciting. That's all I ask from you sincerely, commentators. 57 of Mark Herzog to the inside, and for the 12,000th time, Hospital Wobble, and aerial action there. That's Brad Slaughter, I think. Oh, Jeff Slaughter, not Brad Slaughter. That's a different league. I get too many drivers that I talk to these days. But yeah, Hospital Wobble, except it didn't correct to the opposite side. But yeah. Well, I guess it's time. It's time. Dun 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 dun. Put your comments in chat. How many cautions have we had? We'll wait for some guesses in chat. The prize is nothing outside of a thumbs up and a hey, you won. But I'll pull up my caution graphic in about 30 seconds. What is your guess, Patrick? How many cautions have we suffered through here in the whatever this race is called? Action Academy 120.
I'm gonna say 14.
I'm gonna say 12. And we'll go on the back straightaway. We'll give our chat a little chance to put their numbers in. Again, this is all just for good fun. I can't pull up the other graphic, but let's just pull up our weather conditions and see if anything has changed. Nope, track temp has. Oh, so they don't have dynamic sun on. So yeah, the track temp is essentially static. The rubber will build up, but the track temp is static. And nobody's playing with us in chat, but let's see how many cautions. You said 14, I said 12. Survey says 14. Holy moly, you've been keeping a tally, haven't you, you cheater?
Actually, I'm not. I just threw that number out there.
Oh, you're just that dagnam good. 14 cautions for 38 laps. I'll give them credit. I don't know if admin is expediting the cautions, or if the nature of Nashville and iRacing has just kept them quick, but these cautions have been going rather quickly, so I'll give that as a good thing. But we'll come to green here with about 20 laps to go. We do have, I believe, 2 overtimes available to us if it becomes requiring. For all that is good in this world, I think everybody is hoping that we do not need to extend this race any more than it already has been. But it is potential. It is on the table, and we will try another restart.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, at some point, these drivers are just ready to be done. I know we have primarily Americans on the grid, but and some of them, I mean, it's a Sunday night, so a lot of them have work in the morning. They would like to get some sufficient sleep And going in overtime would kind of defeat the purpose there of getting that sufficient sleep, especially if you have to be at work at a particularly early hour in the morning, which varies depend on who you ask, but I'm going to say around that 6 to 7 a.m. for that, but we can discuss that later because I believe very, very shortly we're going to get back to green flag conditions as we enter the 100th lap of this race.
Yep, the century mark here in the, again, Action Academy 120, sponsored by Jared Jackson in that number 12 car. Has been a one to remember, but for all the wrong reasons. But perhaps it will turn itself into a phenomenal race and we'll have a great finish and all those cautions will be forgotten about. Let's be optimistic here. Green flag in the air. Barney's hand is probably falling off with as much as he had to wave that flag here tonight. But coming to 21 laps to go, Sean Bradley gets the jump. Jeremy Brown on those slightly older... no, he's actually on fresher tires. And actually, here's another point to bring into this here, into this, Patrick. Look at the stint on Sean Bradley, 54 laps. Never mind. Trying so hard, folks. I'm trying so... our YouTube chat, I'm getting DMs. I'm trying so hard. I'm really trying, folks. Mike Weeda driving it on in. He got loose on his own. Med Harcum, I believe those new woke kids on X these days, I think they're calling it, oh my God, someone help me out in chat. We called it aero loose back in the day, but they're calling it like the rear air something where the car gets insta loose. Somebody in chat, please tell me what the new word is on in the community, but it's basically called aero loose. It's like we've been talking about losing downforce instantly once you get to a certain point on the rear deck lid of one of these cars. It has been causing the front car to get super loose, which has happened quite a bit back in the day, you know, with the rear spoilers being really big and no diffuser. You could manipulate the air of the car in front of you. You can make that car get loose. You see it in the Xfinity series. But in the real world, you don't really see the back car being able to manipulate the car in front. So that might be a little bit of a physics faux pas, but we've seen a lot of those aero loose situations happen tonight.
Yeah, unfortunately, I am not Adrian Newey, so I don't understand air as much as he does, but I can definitely see that the dirty air has been a real issue with tonight. And I mean, granted, I know it's a common trend with these
rear air
Xfinity
grief.
cars.
That's what the hip kids are calling it now, aka aero loose, but it's rear air grief. That's what them young whippersnappers are saying.
Honestly, I like aero loose better, personally, even though I think I'm probably closer to that demographic than I'd like to admit.
Yeet, skibbity toilet, all the Riz, all those funky words that are well beyond my age. I'm mid-30s. I have no business saying skibbity toilet. I don't even know what it means. I just know that I saw some kids say it, so I know it's supposed to be cool.
I as somebody who works with kids as my day job as a teacher, even though I am only in my early 20s myself, I hear the phrases a lot more than I would personally like to. So we're, I guess, in the same boat there.
So can you define, I mean, we have, as someone has eloquently DM'd me, we have put enough lipstick on a pig here today. What is skibbity toilet?
I believe it started off as some YouTube animated series that got way out of control. I think it was made in like Source Filmmaker or something, using some old Gmod assets.
Wow, so it's not just like some weird way to say something. All right, so
no.
It requires actually having knowledge of pop culture, which means I don't have it. So, oh well, no, I'm even further.
Me neither.
Yeah, I'm even further in the toilet. See what I did there? But yeah, interestingly, as I was saying, 57 laps, Sean Bradley. He is going to be trying to stretch this 57 plus 18. You're a teacher. What is that, 75?
Around that ballpark.
So 60 laps is what we were told. With all of these cautions, maybe it's possible. Does he? I mean, he has the clean air, but does he have the speed to be able to hold off the 46 and, for that matter, the 12 as well? Or will there be a sleeper? Will we have one of these top cars spin out? Rear air grief. Will it take out any of these drivers? Really, who knows who's the next one to fall on the domino chain, but the green flag back in the air once more, coming to 17 to go.
I feel bad for poor Barney. He's probably got like carpal tunnel or arthritis with how much he's had to wave that flag here today. But hopefully the next time he waves the flag, it is going to be the checkered flag as we get back underway. 17 laps to go here at the Action Academy 120. Sean Bradley is still in the lead of this race. Jeremy Brown right behind, about 2 tenths back. And another few tenths back is Jared Jackson. So the two front runners are still in podium contention here, as the number 45 car of Al Corey loses a position to number 78, Ben Harcum, who gets a little closer to the wall, maybe a little bit of a touch and go moment there, but he keeps the car facing in the right direction, and we stay green for just a while longer.
All right, this is the closest to the lead that Jeremy Brown has been since that pit cycle, since that issue where he was, oh, for Pete's sake, my gosh, I'm trying to call a battle for the lead and we can't do it. 809 of Keaton Crothers. That is not the position he is supposed to be in. Hospital wobble, that was Ben Harcum. Didn't we talk to Ben earlier and he was talking about his strategy for maintaining control on corner exit? I guess even it became too much for him.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean...
Yeah, that was the rear... He didn't hit him. Oh, hospital wobble. That took out Crothers. That took out, I think, Freeman for the third time tonight. Oh, double whammy on the infield even.
Yeah, that's basically putting the icing on the cake right there with the extra little love tap inside of the infield. It's good news for Sean Bradley though, because he's not burning nearly as much fuel as he would be otherwise. So he's going to be in a pretty good spot, allowing those tires to cool down on this relatively cold concrete. So I think in terms of management, as long as he can keep it going in the right direction, I think Sean Bradley's got a really good shot of winning this race.
Yeah, if he doesn't have the... well, it's hard to tell, because the few times that Jeremy Brown has got into that range, 2 tenths, 1 tenth, where he could start setting him up, the caution has come out, and that works to Sean Bradley's advantage. I think it takes a few tenths of a second for... I think it takes a few laps, rather, to get that warmed up, to get Brown into his rhythm. But now, I mean, it's all short runs, and now we have something else to stack onto it. Patrick, the patience is already... I mean, look at my patience. I have none, but these drivers are feeling the same way. And now, all right, it's 10 to go. I got to make something happen. Those aggressive moves that are already sketchy at the edge of control are now going to be even more prominent in these next 10 laps.
Yeah, because it's going to be pretty much like, they're running out of time to really make something happen. So, I mean, as we're about to get underway soon, the pace car coming in this lap, but it's pretty much make or break for a lot of these drivers. I mean, Jeremy Brown, he's one move away from either wrecking his race entirely or getting into that sweet, sweet victory lane. And he's going to obviously go for the latter. So, I mean, yeah, we're going to see a lot of these super spicy moves, these moves that would be sketchy under normal conditions, and that would be given at least a minimum of the, as the kids say nowadays, the bombastic side eye in a race without nearly as many cautions as we've had here tonight. But considering how many cautions we have had here tonight, some of the drivers are going to see a very dangerous move and probably think to themselves, really? And then probably a few words that are not good for stream.
Yeah, because at this point, like we said, the laps are ticking down. If you want the pass, you might have to push 100%. really, I think the only way you don't spin is at 95% here today. But going 100, let alone 110%, that's usually what you see in the last 12 laps into the Echo Park restart zone. Again, Barney might be on his twin replacement at this point, because I think the other one is getting reconstructive surgery here, but the green flag is out. 12 laps to go. That was the best jump you could ask for out of Sean Bradley, and he's going to need every last inch of it, because coming off of turn number 2, Jeremy Brown, 2/10 back. You got to start mirror driving, Sean. Take the air off that 46 if you want to have a chance.
Yeah, because we know how strong Jeremy Brown has been. That number 46 car has been...
Jeremy.
Ooh, never mind.
He sort of saved it. He sort of saved it. Takes him out of the win. Again, and that was a matter, very likely, of going from 90% to 95, maybe to 99%. You can't drive this thing 100%. Big wobble. Luckily, it didn't bite, and guess what? Caution.
I was just about to say that car has been on rails for a majority of the evening, but I guess it got derailed there.
48 of
and there's
Crutchley,
the 48.
Or as he goes by, Naj Crutchley. Let's see what happens.
Here.
I think I'm a little early. Oh, there's Ward Fisher getting loose off of 2. He went off. There's Alan Kunman. And so this is like a 3-part incident, really.
Yeah, 3 separate incidents.
So Ward Fisher, no, actually Alan Kunman's up here. Hospital wobble.
Oh. Boop.
And then Naj, he went up.
Same thing.
He went up and hit the 6, I think, trying to evade. Get one more look from our static backstretch cam here. I'll just kind of watch it all from a distance unfold. There's them down the back. There's Kunman, and then you can see Ward Fisher down the back. But, I mean, we were at 14, so what is this? Must be 17 at this point, I would say.
I think we might even be at 18.
So, well, I mean, the game's already over at this point, so. Yep, 17 for 47 laps. Alan Kunman gets the fast lap of the race, so get the fast lap, but he has had other issues here this evening. Getting the free pass will be Jason Benson. He will still be 1 lap down, but the rate it's going, he may get another free pass. Pardon him not getting into another caution. So, yeah, let's just hope and pray that next week's race at the New Hampshire Speedway, which is, again, my home track. I'll be there in the real world in September. I'm glad that we have the September race because I don't have to sit in bleachers when it's 95 degrees outside. But that will be the next race on the season next week, so we'll stay tuned for that. That will be a race of 115 laps. And to end out the month of June, and then we'll start July off at Texas, and then Indy and Bristol. That will end our regular season, and then starting July 27th, we had a Daytona for the playoffs, which is a 3-race round with Daytona, Phoenix, and we're going to end the season at the Lady in Black, the Darlington Raceway, the hardest, debatably, oval track on the NASCAR calendar, but we're going to have 1 to green with 7 laps to go. I mean, I'm going to take a gander. I mean, if that 77 has the fuel there, Patrick, I think the race is his. And with all the cautions, I assume he does, but it still has to be an asterisk. It still has to be a concern. Actually, he's not clutching it, so I guess it's not.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, as long as he keeps the car facing in the right direction, I think he's gonna have I think he's probably got the best shot out of everybody to win this race here tonight. And I mean, it is gonna be. This is like, I know when we do the multi-class racing, I always say that it's a race of attrition. This race has been basically a textbook definition of a race of attrition. He has that Lexus breathing down his neck as we go ahead and get started with Under 10 laps left to go at the Action Academy 120 here at Triple Bypass Racing. And green flag. And I imagine they did a flag man swap like the endurance races have their driver swaps. But yeah, Bradley's leading us to green. Bradley's been really good at this launch. He's already got about a 0.3 of a second gap to Jared Jackson in P2 at the moment. And honestly, I think as long as either the Lexus just doesn't get a massive boost towards the end there, and if Sean Bradley can keep it phasing in the right direction, this is pretty much his race to lose.
Ty Bass there trying to get underneath Jared Jackson. Jackson would love to get the win in his sponsored race, but look at the outside pass here by Ty Bass. He's always trying it. I haven't seen that work yet, but actually Jared Jackson's going to give it to him, interestingly enough. So now will Ty Bass be able to run down and pass that 77? He has 20 lap fresher tires. He has 20 laps more fuel in the tank. But he's only going to have 5 laps of action to be able to work on that pass as Jared Jackson now falls in the clutches of Brad Kress.
Indeed, yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be... I think at this point, a lot of these drivers are just thinking about survival. Just bring it home, get to the end, try to secure those points, but don't go for anything super risky because they just want this to be done and dusted. Jared Jackson still is going to get a podium on this sponsored race, so I mean that's something to take away for the number 12 Lexus right now. That does have Brad Kress breathing down his neck at the moment, but directly next to him is that's Matthew Harmon directly next to him. He might try to get a move up the inside. The cars are very close.
Oh no!
Coming to the corner and a little bit touch, but Matthew Harmon, no harm done to him.
Yeah, he saves it. And Jeremy Brown trying to do his comeback tour 3.0, maybe at least salvage a top 5. He's currently running in a 7th, but we're coming down to 2 to go. Our pivotal point here in oval racing is that if we get to the white flag, it doesn't matter what happens on the checkered flag. If we make it to the white, we automatically will finish this thing under green. So 2 to go. Can we make it to the white flag? If not, we will have overtime. I think we are hoping let's get to the end, but you never know what could happen given tonight.
Yeah, I think this actually might be the longest stretch of green flag racing that we've had here on the night. And so far, I mean, I think we're going to get to the white flag here. So Sean Bradley is he's gotten now about half a second of a gap. So he's got the pace in that number 77 car. And there it is, the thing we've all been looking for. The white flag is being waved. And now that means no matter what happens, we're staying green for the remainder of this race, and boy, oh boy, this is definitely a win of all time for Sean Bradley.
Yeah, Bradley's going to come down 3 and 4. He's going to stretch the fuel road 75 laps. The cautions will let him get there. He's survived the carnage. He's survived the mayhem that is the Action Academy 120. Sean Bradley is going to win here in Nashville. Jared Jackson gets a podium. Ty Bass in second. Jackson will get a podium in his sponsored race. Kress and Harmon are top 5. So we are going to, because we are running this race ran a little bit longer than expected, we're going to rush straight into our post-race show and hopefully be able to have a brief word with our drivers here. But let's just see if there's a very quick little burnout or any celebratory activities that Sean Bradley will want to do here on the straightaway here at Nashville. Some drivers burn it down, some do donuts, some just park it. Looks like he'll do a little celebratory spin, make some Krispy Kremes there on the concrete. But let's go and give you the final rundown of results here from the Nashville Super Speedway. I'll have you read those top 10 off for us there, Patrick.
All right, so your top 10 here are Sean Bradley, Ty E. Bass, Jared Jackson rounding out our top 3. And then it is Brad Kress, Matthew Harmon, Michael Hopkins, Jeremy Brown, Dominic Zanobi, Stephen McClendon, and Mark Herzog rounding out our top 10.
And 11th through 20th, we have Keaton Crothers, we have John Campbell, Ben Harcum in 13th with Alan Cunman in 14th, Josh Corner in 15th, William Emert, Al Corey 16th, 17th, and rounding out our top 20 is Robinson, Weeda, and Naj, John Crutchley in 20th.
And then rounding out our final drivers, it is Tex Nichols in P21, then Dylan Freeman, Jason R. Benson, Ward Fisher, Jeff Slaughter, Daniel Williams, Brian Dickens, Derek Katz, Kyle Grzek, and Nick Jones.
And that'll be our 30 cars that started here today's effort. So we'll head straight to Victory Circle, where we will grab Sean Bradley. The F in your name stands for finally. This race is over. You stretched 75 laps. You put it in victory lane. You didn't have many incidents to report, if any. What was this race like, man?
The stars just aligned. I mean, the way that the cautions fell, well, how many the cautions fell, and, you know, that I could make this a one-stop race somehow. I got the idea just randomly, and I can't believe that it worked, and I can't believe that I had enough tire to hold off Jared after, too. It was just, like I said, the stars aligned.
Yeah, absolutely. This race was chaotic, and obviously we know a week after the new build, the physics, the cold tires, the aero model, all that fun stuff made corner exits especially difficult. What was the number one thing you had to drill in your head to evade yourself from any issues tonight?
Yeah, the patience on the corner exit for sure. I mean, there was a couple of times that it got out of my hands, and, you know, I was able to save it, but just pushing too hard to try to get up front was a problem, and I decided I'm just going to try to let the race come to me, and somehow it did.
Absolutely did, man. Well, we head to Loudon next week. I don't know how that's going to be aero model wise and everything, but what's the confidence level heading there next week?
I'm not good at Loudon, not very good. So no, confidence level is in the tubes for that.
Well,
you know, I'll take the momentum off a win though.
But you got the winning in. You got that little green box on your name next to the point sheet now. So we'll see what you can do next week, man. Good job surviving the carnage tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And I'll leave Ty Bass to you, Patrick, with our second place finisher. There he is.
All right, so Ty, I'm assuming the TY in your name stands for thank you that we're done. So overall, I mean, with cautions aplenty, how was this race for you?
Yeah, it was definitely a long race, a lot of pacing. But once we finally got going there, it was pretty fun. It was just a lot of strategy, and it was really hard to pass the lead car. Clean air was king. But overall, it was a fun night, even with all the cautions.
So how do you feel about next week? We are headed to Loudon. How are you fancying your chances there?
Probably decent, but definitely better than they were at Chicago. So I don't expect to be super good, but should be okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much for jumping on in, and congratulations on surviving the carnage.
Thanks. I just also like to thank On Edge Racing, everybody involved, Jared, and everybody over there. So.
Absolutely. That is Ty Bass with the second place. And now we will find Jared Jackson, our race sponsor here today, finishes in third with the Action Academy 120. It looked like you had a shot at the win there, and then you ultimately kind of pulled over, let Ty go for second. What happened there? Were you just losing the car, just kind of going for survival?
No, it was really sketchy track. I think the concrete was throwing people for a loop. It was really slick, and Ty was shifting on the front straightaway, and I was just not comfortable with that. So he was carrying a little bit more straightaway speed with me, and he's a team member of mine. So I just pulled over and kind of gave him the opportunity to see if he could run down the leader.
Yeah, and he unfortunately ran out of time. Sean Bradley pulling off that major strategy call and getting that clean air. What's the number one thing, man, that you can take, obviously the first race out of this new build, this new physics engine, all that fun stuff with the next show? What's the number one thing that you're going to take out of this that you're going to have to apply to the rest of the season?
I mean, strategy, like when you pit, is always very important, but I ran our Xfinity series in this league at the same track a couple of days ago to kind of gain some experience, and tire wear was a lot there and fresh tires you could pass. But tonight I noticed a few people stayed out, and it was like whoever was in the lead, regardless of how fast they were prior to, they were quick enough to withhold the lead. And so it seemed like the draft or the dirty air played a huge role. I have not seen that up until this point, so it's just something to consider moving forward.
Absolutely, man. Well, we'll see what it happens, what it does at Loudon next week. But obviously, thanks for your part in the Race Action Academy, and we'll see what you can do next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys, and shout out to our whole On Edge Racing crew, and a special shout out to Nick Jones, NS804. Nick was a bunch of our members kind of grouped together to sponsor a bunch of races, and Nick contributed a lot. So I'd like to thank him for his support of the league.
Absolutely. Always good to help out for the hobby that we have, man. So appreciation to Nick as well. So that will be our broadcast. I know it's your first take into oval racing there, Patrick, and an interesting endeavor into the world of it. But thanks for being with me for a chaotic race. And what's your takeaways?
Well, I mean, hey, sometimes the best thing to learn how to do oval racing or how to commentate it, from my perspective, is just to get thrown straight into the deep end. You get to see the extremes of it, but overall, I think when we actually did get racing, when we actually had green flag racing, the action was pretty close. So I had a good time.
And in the case here, make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for our next broadcast. We'll be live Tuesday night with some more area iRacing action. Tuesday and then Wednesday, elbows out. Thursday, more area. And then we'll be back next week on next Sunday with the Loudon race for Triple Bypass. That's going to be Corey and Patrick signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.